A major development has now hit Accompong. A formal order from the Supreme Court of Judicature of Jamaica, dated May 13th, 2026, has restrained Richard Currie from acting as colonel of the Accompong Town Maroon Community. The case is listed as Meredy Rowe versus Richard Currie, claim number 2026CV01911. And this order does not only affect the planned election, it may also strike at the heart of Richard Currie's continued claim to authority. According to the formal order, the Supreme Court granted an interim injunction for 28 days, running to June 10th, 2026. During that period, Richard Currie is prohibited from doing several key things. He is restrained from acting as colonel of the Accompong Town Maroon Community. He is restrained from selecting an interim council. He is restrained from creating an election council. He is restrained from creating a list of eligible voters. And he is restrained from calling an election. The order also states the planned nomination day of May 15th, 2026, and the planned election day of May 22nd, 2026. That means the election process that was being pushed forward has now been legally paused by the court. But the deeper issue is this. Richard Currie's own constitution reportedly says that after the end of his term on February 18th, 2026, there is a 3-month period for transition. That 3-month window would expire around May 18th, 2026. So the timing of this court order is critical. The injunction runs until June 10th, 2026. That means Richard Currie is restrained from acting as colonel, restrained from calling an election, and restrained from setting up the election machinery until after the 3-month transition period under his own constitution has already expired. In plain language, the court has stopped him from using the office during the very period when, under his own rules, he would need to complete the transition. So this is no longer just a dispute about an election date. It is now a dispute about whether Richard Currie has any lawful authority left to exercise. If his own constitution says that after 3 months the seat must be handed over to the council, then this injunction carries him beyond that deadline. That means, by the rules he himself has relied on, his continued reign may effectively be over. This is why the May 13th order is so important. The court did not simply say slow down. The court said he cannot act as colonel. He cannot form the election structure. He cannot create the voters list. He cannot call the election. And the May 22nd election date is stayed. That directly affects the machinery of power in Accompong. For months, the central issue has been whether the current leadership had the authority to control the election process, set the rules, and determine who could participate. Now the Supreme Court has placed a legal hold on those actions. And because the order lasts until June 10th, it overlaps with the final days of the constitutional transition period. This creates a serious problem for Richard Currie. If the constitution he promotes is valid, then the 3-month handover rule matters. If the 3-month handover rule matters, then the deadline matters. And if the deadline passes while he is restrained by the court from acting as colonel, then his position becomes much harder to defend. The matter is scheduled to return before the court on June 10th, 2026 by video conference. Until then, the election is stayed. Richard Currie is restrained, and the question facing Accompong is now much bigger than who will run in the next election. The question is whether Richard Currie's authority has already reached its constitutional end. For Accompong Network News, this is the developing story we are watching closely.